This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
The Labor Party has tonight failed to prompt the government into immediately resourcing pregnancy terminations in the public health system. Instead, the Health Minister will now consult with medical professionals about providing the procedure in both the public and private systems, reporting back next month.
A highly emotional debate on the most sensitive of issues. Tasmanian women's access to surgical pregnancy terminations discussed in Parliament today. With a deciding vote from new Speaker Sue Hickey, the government agreeing to consult with medical professionals about adequately resourcing abortions in the public health system.
There is an interstate private provider who is looking to establish a private, lower-cost surgical termination service in Tasmania.
It has now been more than 6 months since the last public abortion clinic in Tasmania closed its doors. Mr Ferguson agreeing to provide this advice to the department by July 3. But this angered opposition parties.
We need to ensure that when we decriminalise terminations in this state, that we didn't then somehow agree that we would just make it harder and harder and harder for women to access the best reproductive health that they can get.
Nobody, not the state, not any other person, should have the power to tell a woman what to do with herself in the circumstances where she becomes pregnant.
Mr Ferguson outright rejecting that this was the government forcing women to go to Melbourne, but saying the procedure would add to an already busy caseload for medical staff. Concerns were also raised on the lawns of Parliament today, those against Labor's move taking part in a prayer vigil.
We believe that women deserve a better option than abortion, and that options such as adoption or pregnancy help services should be encouraged for women.
The potential new provider expected to make an announcement on whether it will operate in Tasmania in the near future. Michelle Wisby, Southern Cross News.
12 little penguins found dead in a garbage bin at Low Head last week were most likely killed by dogs. Autopsies of the carcasses were conducted at Mount Pleasant Laboratories, and dog owners in the area are now being spoken to. The Department of Primary Industries says wildlife rangers are also working with the Georgetown Council to conduct patrols in the coastal reserve. Anyone with information about the incident is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. A Tasmanian man accused of trafficking quantities of drugs interstate has just landed in Hobart after being extradited from the Gold Coast. It's expected he'll be charged with a series of drug and firearm charges tonight. Our reporter Louise Hedger joins us now live from the Hobart Airport. Good evening, Louise. What's been happening?
Well, Joe, that's right. Mitchell John Campbell has just arrived to Tasmania following his extradition from Queensland. He was flanked by 2 detectives as they led him to a waiting police vehicle here at Hobart Airport. He was arrested following a dramatic police operation during a raid at a Gold Coast property on Monday. Tasmanian police travelling to Queensland for the joint operation alongside Queensland police. The 29-year-old was arrested following numerous drug importation incidents from earlier this year, where packages were allegedly sent to Tasmania via Australia Post. During the raid, officers also allegedly found thousands of caps of MDMA, cocaine, steroids, and also evidence of $500,000 worth of the online currency Bitcoin, which was reportedly used to buy drugs online. And Joe, the man formerly from Howrah, is also facing firearms charges. He is expected to be charged tonight, and he'll remain in custody and face Hobart Magistrates Court tomorrow.
OK, thank you very much for that, Louise. Louise Hedger joining us there from the Hobart Airport. The Treasurer has today revealed that tomorrow's budget will be $75 million in surplus. The government also announcing surpluses will continue across the forward estimates and there will be no net debt. But the Treasurer remained coy on other key budget measures, saying Tasmanians would have to wait until tomorrow to see just how the government plans on spending its money.
The last 4 years, we have built a very strong financial platform. We have laid strong foundations. The budget is in the best shape that it's ever been in.
Also today, it was announced an additional $20 million will be in the budget to continue tackling family violence across Tasmania. Peak bodies from a range of sectors have come together today to call for greater transparency around Tasmania's booming Airbnb market. But the Parliament has tonight voted against implementing stricter controls within the short stay accommodation market.
Peak bodies gather to demand change. 4 tourism and housing industry leaders coming together today, calling for data on the short stay accommodation market to be significantly overhauled.
No one, local government, our industry, state government, can give a definitive number on exactly how many listings, what are new listings, what are old traditional listings of just using Airbnb, how many listings on Airbnb are motels. The
group saying adequate Airbnb and stays data was needed to assess its impact on Tasmania, urging for an evidence-based accommodation policy and for changes that minimise any impacts on rental vacancies. But they say time has run out.
And the reality is, at the moment, the system's not able to capture who's in, who's out, who's doing the right thing, who's not. So at the moment we've actually got to capture that, and at the moment we don't have it.
It's about getting the processes and measures and understandings right so that we can put in the right controls in the right places to stop perverse outcomes happening.
Airbnb listings have been booming across the state, with 4,500 individual listings recorded earlier this year, 3/4 of these being entire homes. With the housing crisis still ongoing, the Greens today calling for a pause on the issuing of new permits for short stay accommodation.
We could provide an immediate response to the need to press pause on new whole properties being listed on Airbnb and stays, and make sure there are still homes available for rentals for Tasmanians.
It is one element of our housing market, and it is simplistic, I think, for anyone to suggest that it is the reason for homelessness or housing stress in isolation.
The government last week making minor changes to its policy, including changes for investment properties. Michelle Wisby, Southern Cross News.
Ride-sharing company Uber says it has dozens of drivers ready to go ahead of its launch in the state's north and northwest on Monday. The service is eager to battle against regular taxis, but opinion is divided over how successful Uber will be.
A new player is pulling up in the taxi market. Uber will be charging its first fares from Monday in Launceston, Devonport and Burnie.
While we were up in Sydney, we used it a few times and it was an easier way to get around.
The company claims to offer locals the opportunity to earn extra income by becoming an Uber driver using their own car. It's expecting most of its business to be on weekends and around major events, but some are sceptical of how successful Uber's expansion will be.
At quiet times of the year, like when there's not, functions on and like Festivali and football and stuff like that, there's not a lot of work around.
Do you think it'll be a bit of a fad then?
But yeah, potentially. I can't see it taking off as much as it has on the mainland.
Even one taxi driver doubts Uber will have an impact.
I don't think they're going to be doing too much in here.
He says most of his clients are elderly. He questions whether they will change to the phone-based app.
Elderly have the half-price taxi fares, so Uber can't do them as well.
The Taxi Council declined to comment on camera, but it told us taxis in Hobart have not been greatly affected since Uber arrived 18 months ago. Would you go with an Uber or choose a cab?
Probably go with an Uber, because they can actually play music that you like.
Time will tell if Uber takes off in the north and northwest. Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
A development application to relocate the entire University of Tasmania's Newnham campus to Inveresk will be submitted to the Launceston City Council by the end of the year. It comes as work up the river at North Bank ramps up.
Like a jigsaw piece being lifted into place, this is the new walk and cycleway, which will soon link Seaport with North Bank.
It's very pleasing to see the progress that's happening here, and we know that in some 5 weeks' time that you'll be able to walk and cycle across the bridge, and that's very exciting.
The structure is 4 metres wide and will be 120 metres long. Another 3 pieces, like today's, still need to be lifted in. That will happen in coming weeks.
Looks good, looks better than I thought it would do, and it'll improve the parking around the whole area.
Well, it'll eliminate going across the roadway up there, so it's all good as far as I'm concerned.
Once finished, work will then begin on creating a recreation area and playground near the new Peppers Hotel. Boral will move out, and it's hoped the area will be ready for public use by Christmas. While work up the river is progressing, it will still be a few more months before construction starts at Inveresk on the new University of Tasmania campus. A principal architect for the project is expected to be finalised by the end of this month. The university then hopes to submit its development plans to council in the third quarter of this year.
Important thing is to get it right. I mean, we'd like to see it started already, there's no doubt about that. It's something that we'd love to see happening. Hopefully early in the new year we'll see some real cranes in the sky, and that's what people are really waiting for.
But for now, these cranes will keep lifting for at least the next few weeks. Monika Dadson at Southern Cross News.
Let's take a look at the day's business and finance news now, with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. Weakness among the big banks and major miners has helped pull back the Australian share market ahead of a key decision by the US Federal Reserve on interest rates. The ASX 200 index has dropped by 30.9 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 75.7 US cents and 108.03 New Zealand cents.
A young Hobart soccer ace has secured himself what could prove the opportunity of a lifetime, signing with A-League giant Sydney FC's academy program, and Antonio Saracino says he owes it all to one Tasmanian NPL club.
At just 16 years old, Saracino is preparing to relocate his whole life in pursuit of an A-League dream.
I can't really express how I feel at the moment. It's just pretty much a dream come true.
Having spent the past 3 weeks trialling with the Sydney FC Academy, the South Hobart player did enough to earn himself a full-time gig at the club, alongside some of the country's best under 16 and 17 prospects.
Such legends around there, all nice people, nice coaches, everything's all professional, serious, and just loving every moment. It's awesome.
Saracino quickly climbed the ranks at his junior club, breaking into South Hobart's senior squad at just 15.
He has that presence on the field. When he gets the ball, it's exciting. You can expect an explosive run with a powerful finish.
That's why I'm at Sydney FC, because of these people. And they just keep making me work. I keep making do everything. And I couldn't thank them enough, really. I don't know how I can repay them.
The promising young midfielder now faces the difficult juggling act of school and football in Australia's busiest city, hoping to eventually crack into Sydney FC's youth squad, and from there he's just one call away from the A-League.
I don't really want to have a time set for when I play A-League, but we'll see whatever the coaches want from me, but I'm just really trying to do my best and see where that takes me.
The P is up there, the coaching staff, every single person has said the same thing. Not is he just a great prospect, but he's a super lad as well.
To basketball, and the Hobart Chargers women's side will finally have their big three together on the court for Friday night's crucial clash with Melbourne, as the men look to bustle their way into top two spot on the Seaboard ladder, while the Tornadoes are mentally preparing for a tough back end of the season.
Bringing in Clara Wisher for the first time this season, the former WNBL player joins Britt Smart and Kathleen Shear for Friday night's clash with Melbourne in what coach Dwayne Davey hopes is a much-needed return to form.
I'm confident that we've got the talent to do that. It's just whether we can do, put our best basketball together consistently.
Sitting 11th on the ladder, the Chargers now have a big fight on their hands to claw back into finals contention.
What we've learned in the first half is that our best is good enough. We've just got to do it, for longer.
Still without Mathai Muo for at least another 3 weeks due to injury, the men are in the midst of a tight tussle at the top of the table. A win against the Supercats will potentially see them in the top 2, while a loss could mean plummeting to 7th.
I think we were 1 win and 2 losses to start the season, so to be 8-3 at the break, and I've always said we've got a softer end of the season. We play none of the top teams above us.
Well, an informed Trey Nichols will match up with the league's leading scorer in Tom Wilson.
Trey's obviously trying to crack into the NBL, and Tom's already there, so it'll be a great spectacle on Friday night with both players having a little bit to prove.
Also playing the delicate balancing act inside the competition's top 8, the Tornadoes will head into Saturday night's match against Melbourne without captain Lauren Mansfield.
But at the end of the day, I know I have players that can step up in a position. We know we can win on the road. We know we can win at home without her.
The injured Torn now racing the clock to be fit after earning selection in the Opal squad for next month's 4-nation tournament in China, meaning the side will have to continue battling on without her.
I would love to have her myself. But at the end of the day, man, I'm always about my players pursuing their careers and their goals and their dreams, and that's what she's pursuing right now.
Tassie basketballers Chris Goulding and Adam Simpson have wrapped up their NBL All-Star Series against China. Goulding hit a nice three-pointer early in the second period, but it was a much quieter game from the Melbourne United star. China won last night's match 82-62, but the NBL All-Stars walk away with the series 2-1.
Good evening. Hobart and Burnie 14 degrees today. Launceston and Devonport 13 as a cold front moved through. Many centres shared the top though. King Island, Friendly Beaches, Fingal, Campania and Bushy Park all on 15. Flinders Island and Strawn 14 today. Low Head and Ooze 13. Lyawini a top of 7. Patches of cloud did move over the state as a frontal band started to make its presence felt. Some cold air is also moving into the west on the big picture over the Bight and the Southern Ocean behind that front. Active thunderstorms are over inland Northern Territory and central parts of Queensland, a large portion of WA and the far north mostly clear. Tomorrow, Tasmania under the influence of a northwesterly airstream with a pair of troughs over the Tasman Sea. A low to the west is bringing a cold front towards South Australia. The winds north-northwesterly at 20 to 30 knots, but reaching 30 to 40 knots over the north in the evening. Swells to 3.5 metres in western waters. A gale warning's on from Sandy Cape to Flinders Island. A strong wind warning for remaining waters apart from the southeast coast. Into tomorrow we go, and for Hobart, a possible late shower. 4 overnight, 13 the top, 13 also for Cygnet, 12 the high for New Norfolk with a late shower. Launceston showers increasing, 13 the maximum, 13 also for Devonport, showers over Campbelltown and 11 degrees. Burnie, showers and a possible storm, 13 the maximum, 12 for Strawn, maybe a storm as well, and for Smithton, 13 degrees there. And for St Helens, showers increasing later, 14 for Swansea. Fingal, bit of fog to start the day like it did today, and a top of 12 degrees. On Friday, showers contracting to the north, west and far south in the afternoon. A dusting of snow possible. Showers on Saturday mainly over the west, south and central areas. And on Sunday, an early shower over the Bass Strait Islands. Showers over the south extending up to the east later. Further north, partly cloudy in Perth. Showers increasing over Adelaide. A shower also for Melbourne and Canberra. A sunny 19 in Sydney and partly cloudy over Brisbane. Conditions clear in Hobart at the moment, 7 degrees, Launceston 9 and cloudy, Devonport currently cloudy and 12 degrees. Joe, that's all I have for you tonight.
All right, thanks so much for that, Murph. And that's all from the team. Have a great evening. See you a little bit later. Bye-bye.